Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Boss Up and Glow Up with Lexi Sample. And in this podcast, we're always talking about mental health, friendships, relationships, and just how to be the best possible version of yourself that you can be. That's all it takes, really. You just need to be the best version of yourself possible. And I know it's hard, so I hope this can be a safe space for you to chat with me and we can glow up together, okay? And today we're going to talk about emotional regulation being the real glow up, not physical, okay? It's not the Pilates body. It's not you having a Stanley Cup. It's not you having a brand new, nice, fancy schmancy apartment. It's not the new boyfriend. The glow up is when you stop reacting over everything. The real glow up is when your nervous system is calm. The real glow up is when you don't spiral every time someone doesn't text you back. And I know we love a physical glow up. They're amazing. I love a physical glow up. I literally will wake up at 4 a.m. sometimes just to get my workout in, you know? I do my discipline era. I love it. I romanticize my routines. I love it. But none of that matters if emotionally you are still chaotic. You can have the body and still be triggered over everything. You can have the job and still be insecure. You can have the nice relationship and still be anxious over everything. So, today, we're going a little bit deeper. I'm going to activate my counselor brain here, okay? But big sister energy is still going to be present, okay? Because this right here is the real transformation. All right, so let's define emotional regulation, okay? Emotional regulation is your ability to feel your emotions without being controlled by them. It's not suppressing, it's not pretending you don't give a fuck, it's not being cold, it's not being robotic. It is feeling something fully and choosing your response intentionally. It's the difference between feeling anxious and texting that person a million times versus feeling anxious and saying, okay, I'm anxious, let me breathe a little bit. It's the difference between feeling disrespected and popping the fuck off versus feeling disrespected calmly and setting a boundary. It's the difference between having a bad day and ruining your whole week versus having a bad day and saying, okay, yeah, that sucked, but we move on. That's power. I want to give you like a tiny example of this, okay? So my morning this morning was so chaotic, like everything that could have happened happened, okay? So I take my dog out, she takes forever to go to the bathroom. I'm like gonna be late for this workout class, but it was fine. It was fine. And I hit my head a few times. I was like, "Why the fuck?" And you know when you're like already stressed out about something and then you like hit your head or bump your toe? That happened. So, I'm driving to the gym. I had an itch on my foot. I was like, so I scratched my foot. I was still in my fucking Uggs from when I took my dog out. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I'm not even wearing workout shoes." So I had to go back home and change my shoes. At that point, I wanted to stay home so bad. I was like, "Fuck the gym. Is this my sign not to even work out?" And I almost let that ruin my fucking day. But okay, I ate the $12 cancellation fee because I was not gonna make it. But I still went to the gym anyway. I just changed my shoes and just went. Just because I was stressed out and angry about that, even though it doesn't seem like a big deal, when you're in the moment, it seems like the end of the world. So I didn't let that affect me and I still went to the gym. That's power. And from working in a psych setting, from studying counseling, I'm literally watching people every single day. And most problems are not about the event, they're about the reaction. Your life is shaped by how you respond when you're triggered. That's it. You're not crazy, you're just dysregulated. And this is where we get into this nervous system energy, okay? If you grew up in chaos, your body thinks chaos is normal. If you grew up walking on eggshells, your body is hyper alert. If love felt inconsistent, your body panics when somebody pulls away. So, when you feel like, why am I overreacting? Why am I so sensitive? Why do I constantly spiral? Why do I shut down? It's not because you're dramatic. It's because your nervous system is trained to survive, not be peaceful. Your brain is trying to protect you. But here's the shift: protection patterns that keep you safe before will sabotage you now. Hyperindependence, overthinking, people pleasing, emotional shutdown, explosive reactions, those were all survival tools, but they are not glow up tools. In the moment you realize that, everything changes because now it's not about shame, it's about retraining. High functioning does not mean you have healed. And this one might sting a little bit because you're thinking you're healed, but you aren't. You can be disciplined, successful, fit, organized, ambitious, and still emotionally dysregulated. You can crush all of your goals and still panic when someone doesn't validate you. You can look calm and still be internally spiraling. High functioning anxiety is still anxiety. High functioning avoidance is still avoidance. And some of you are so productive because you are avoiding feeling. Be honest. Are you grinding or are you running from something? Are you building your empire or are you distracting yourself from your loneliness? And I say that with love because I have had to check myself too. Emotional regulation means you can sit still. It means you can be alone without panicking. It means silence does not feel like abandonment. And that is next level glow up. Okay, we need to talk about what emotional regulation looks like in real life. Let's get a little practical. This is what it's going to look like. You pause before responding. Instead of firing off that text, you wait, not to play games, but to regulate. You name what you're feeling. I am anxious. I'm jealous. I am hurt. When you name it, you can tame it. You separate facts from stories. Fact: they're not responding. Story: he hates me. They're losing interest. I'm not enough. Those are not the same. Some people are just busy and they just haven't gotten a chance to answer yet. You stop outsourcing your stability. You do not need constant reassurance to feel okay. You do not let one moment define everything. One bad workout doesn't mean you're lazy. A tough conversation doesn't mean the relationship or friendship is doomed. Regulated people zoom out. And here is the biggest one: you feel it without acting on it. Just because you feel rejected doesn't mean you are rejected. Just because you feel abandoned doesn't mean you are abandoned. Feelings are information, not instructions. Let that sink in. Now, you may ask, Lexi, oh, how do I build emotional regulation? I don't understand it. I don't know how. And y'all, this is where the glow up is actually going to happen. Number one, you need to regulate your body first. You cannot think your way out of a dysregulated nervous system. You need to get enough sleep. You need to drink enough water. You need to move your body. Maybe lower the caffeine if you're spiraling, because if you have anxiety, caffeine is going to make it worse. I know. Sometimes we need a little caffeine boost to wake ourselves up, but for someone who has anxiety, that is going to make it worse. Your brain cannot be calm if your body is inflamed and exhausted. Number two, create space between trigger and reaction. Maybe count to 10, walk away, journal before sending that text or sending or calling. Voice memo yourself instead of calling them. Because sometimes you need to hear what you're going to sound like, and you're going to listen to it back and you're going to be like, oh my God, I sound insane. Because you haven't had a chance to let yourself calm down yet, you're going to say the worst possible things. Create a delay. Delay is power. Number three, stop romanticizing intensity. Calm love is not boring. Peace is not lack of passion. Silence is not rejection. If chaos feels like chemistry, that's a sign. Listen to that sign and get the fuck out of there because that is not chemistry. Number four, build self trust. When you tell yourself you will handle things calmly and you actually do, your confidence skyrockets. Nothing is more attractive than someone who cannot be shaken up easy. Nothing. That is aura. That is presence. And that is glow. Not everything should trigger you guys. And I know it's hard, but the real glow up is learning how to regulate your emotions. And the truth is, the world does not respect people who cannot regulate themselves. Jobs do not, partners do not, friends do not. And more importantly, you will not respect yourself. The real glow up begins when you don't beg, you don't chase, you don't explode, you don't spiral publicly. You feel it, you process it, you move with intention. And let me say this, you are allowed to feel deeply, you are allowed to care, you are allowed to be sensitive, but you are not allowed to let every single emotion ruin your life. Emotional regulation is not about being less emotional. It is about being more powerful. And I know it is easier said than done. It took me a while to be able to regulate my emotions. I used to be, what do they call it? A certified crash out. I was a certified crash out. Like anytime something would go wrong or someone would do me wrong, oh my God, I would be blowing up their phone. I would be hollering, screaming, doing this, that, and the third. Oh my God, I was not emotionally regulated at all. And realistically, if you're gonna crash out, they're just gonna brush it off. It's just gonna push them further and further away. And I know that is not what your intentions are, but that is what crashing out is going to do because you are not regulating your emotions. Like you're just going nuts and batshit for no reason. And I know it's fucking hard. I was the same fucking way because when someone does you wrong, the first thing that is going to go in your head is like, I need to yell at this person. I need to give them a piece of my mind. I need them to see what they're doing to me. When realistically, if you're just going to holler at somebody, they're not going to care. And I actually learned this from working in a psych hospital when the patients, when they want something and they're yelling at you and you're yelling back and you're going tit for tat, it's not calming them down. You're not getting anywhere by going tit for tat. But when they're yelling at me and I talk back to them and I'm still calm, they low key like calm down. They lower the volume and I actually kind of get somewhere. So like I noticed like that applies to real life situations. Not saying work isn't a real life situation, but I mean like bringing it into like my relationships and my friendships. It's the same thing. If I'm going to crash out, they're not listening to me. I'm not getting my point across. It's just causing a fight. Crashing out is just going to make them yell back and you're literally going to get absolutely nowhere. But if you calmly tell them how you're feeling and something is bothering you, you might actually get somewhere unless they're a complete asshole. But if they're a decent human being, you're gonna get somewhere with them. And just learning how to regulate your emotions instead of completely allowing yourself to spiral the second something goes wrong, that is the ultimate glow up. And again, I know it is hard. All right, y'all. If this episode hit you or hit someone you know, I want you to tag me in it and let me know what part called you out because I know a lot of us are struggling with regulating our emotions because when something happens, we immediately go to crash out mode, and I know a lot of us do. So I want to know what part really stuck out with you, and I want you to remember that your nervous system is not your enemy, but it is your responsibility. I want to thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Boss Up and Glow Up. I hope this hit home for you, and I hope this helped you out a little bit because we always just automatically go to crash out mode. And I hope this really made you think about when you're actually crashing out and when to not. And I hope this made you realize that maybe before crashing out, maybe I should think about what I'm going to actually say. Because sometimes when you crash out, you end up losing the person as a whole. And I know that is not your intention. So just next time before you crash out, just think a little bit, just breathe. Maybe talk in a voice memo to yourself and listen to yourself back. And you're going to be like, what the fuck? I'm going to sound like that. And just don't. Don't do it. Learning how to regulate your emotions is so, so powerful. And that is where the actual glow up is going to be. It's not about how you look, it's not about you leveling up in your career. This is the best possible glow up that you can have. And that is learning how to regulate your emotions in a healthy way. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you liked today's episode, and I will see you next week.